everyone. Thanks for joining Game Trade Media at Alliance Open House. I'm Gretchen, and I'm here with Luke from North Star Games.
How you doing, Gretchen?
Doing pretty good. All right, so what do you have set up?
This is Die Tavernen am Tiefenthal, which in English is the Taverns of Tiefenthal. Tiefenthal is Deep Valley in German, but we like the alliteration. It kind of goes with Quacks of Quedlinburg. It's from the same German company. We're licensing it here in the United States, and the same designer, Wolfgang Warsch, who also had done That's So Clever, Don John Clever, and The Mind. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, he's super hot right now. This is his latest strategy game that we're bringing over.
Awesome.
Should be here November 1st, so should hit stores in a couple of weeks.
Sweet.
So you probably want to know what the heck we're doing here.
You set it all up. I'm involved now.
Okay. There's a little bit of setup in this game, but the setup is leads to the really cool part of this game. So there's three sort of high-level things we do in this game. It's a tableau building game, mm-hmm. It's a deck building game, and it's a dice drafting game. All three in one, but Wolfgang just has his knack for seamlessly putting all this stuff together. It just flows really well. It sounds like it could be a hot mess, but it's really slick. So let me explain the tableau on a high level. You are running a tavern, and you are trying to upgrade your tavern to get better guests, to make your tavern more efficient, and ultimately to recruit nobles because they're worth a lot of victory points. And in doing this, you have a deck, a starting deck, which most of your guests initially, they're locals. They come in, they nurse their one beer all night. You don't make a lot of money from them, right? And you have spotty service, people not showing up to work every now and then. The server decides to show up. And what you're trying to do is build your deck by acquiring these cards to improve your tavern. So there's two types of cards, as I mentioned. You have guests. These are guests. You acquire guests with more beer. So these guests, as I'll explain later, will be more evident. You get more money from them. So some of your initial guests, for instance, you only get one money if you put a die on them. But with these kind of bourgeois guests, you get more money. And sometimes when you acquire these cards, you also get a bonus, a one-time bonus. So you're trying to get better guests into your tavern. You're also trying to improve your tavern here. You can get a beer supplier to show up, and that amplifies the amount of beer you get. An extra table allows you to place more guests. A server gets you a die in your color, so on and so forth. So all these are upgrades. The other cool upgrade is in the tavern itself. So you can take the money that you've earned from your guests and actually flip these things over, and that improves your tavern. So here, normally when you put a die, you get one beer, okay? But if you turn it over and you permanently upgrade that spot, you get 2 beer for every die you put there.
Okay.
Right? So all parts of these taverns upgrade. In fact, the base tavern, when you get it out of the box, looks like this. So you can see how much of this is extra stuff that you can flip over. So there's like 8 different areas that you can change in this game. Actually, I think it's maybe 9. So this changes, that changes, that changes, the tables change. All of this upgrades. So you can actually physically upgrade your tavern during the game. So that's a
awesome.
really cool thing. The other thing that's really unique about this is with most deck builders, you acquire cards and they go into your discard pile, and then you have to shuffle them later, and sometimes you may not even actually get to use the card if it's later in the game. In taverns, any card you acquire goes immediately on top of your deck, so you're guaranteed to get it the next turn.
Oh, wow.
So you can actually plan your turn by what you acquired during the previous turn. So it adds a little cool element of strategy there that's not in most deck building games. The last part of it is once you've drawn cards out into your tavern and you've filled up all your tables, and that signifies the end of your draw cards phase, you then roll dice. Okay, so you roll these dice, and you draft one, and then you pass the rest. Okay, so it's a dice drafting game as well. And these dice are used to activate the cards that you've drawn into your tavern. Okay, so if I have this guest right here, that 5, I can place on that, and I'd get 5 money. Okay. If you don't have a die, let's say I have this 4 guest up here. If I don't get a 4, I can't use that card, right? But I might have multiple places to play 5s, and I may not be able. Sometimes you can't even use the dice. Early in the game, there's no place to put 3s or 4s. except in these 2 random locations. If I have 4 fours, I only get to place 2 dice. So you want to sort of vary the number of types of guests that you have so you can play 3s and 4s to more effect. 1s and 6s you can always play there, and 5s you can always play there. So that's also part of the game, is making sure you have good places to place your die, drafting the dice well, seeing what dice are coming around to you so you can sort of plan, oh, there's a bunch of 1s coming. I don't need to take a 1 now because I'll get a 1 later, that kind of stuff. And you can get extra dice here, again, by these servers. So the more dice you have, the more you can play, so on and so forth. And they have this extra track here. This is the monastery. There's a monk right here. If you activate the monk, you move your disc around the monastery and you get various bonuses. So yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
got the deck building element. So if you like deck builders, you're going to love this game. If you like tableau building and then kind of improving the economies, the tableau building part is here. And, of course, the dice drafting part. Again, you can take things to deny people, like, oh, they've got a bunch of beer suppliers. They want 1s and 6s. You can keep all the 1s and 6s, that kind of stuff.
And it's cool how they're all integrated together.
Yeah,
to kind of,
it's
like all the gears.
Yeah, all the gears just work together really well. And the game also comes with 4 expansions in it.
Okay.
So it's got it's readily adaptable and expandable if you're a more serious gamer and you can pick up on the base game quickly. It's got these expansions in the box already.
And how many people does this normally play?
It plays 4. Yeah. So 2 to 4 players and $50 MSRP coming out in November.
Awesome.
Yeah. Pretty
Okay.
exciting stuff. We also have another thing coming very soon, couple of weeks. So some of you have heard of this game, The Quacks of Quedlinburg. Yes, very, very popular game. Well, there's an expansion, and it's coming in a couple of weeks. The Herb Witches. Okay, there we go. Which way do I rotate? There we are. The Quacks of Quedlinburg, the Herb Witch expansion. There's a lot of content in this box. It adds stuff for a 5th player. Okay,
Ooh.
so you can play Quacks with 5 players. It also has got these cool things. They're overflow bowls. So here in Quacks, if you get all the way up here and you're maxed out, let me turn that this way, you can't do anything. In this game, you have an overflow bowl, so you can keep drawing ingredients into the overflow bowl and get victory points for that. But your pot can still explode. So if you're familiar with Quacks of Quedlinburg, if you draw too many white chips, your pot explodes. So you still run that risk, but it allows you to potentially get more points if you have a really good draw. The main thing in the game is the namesake of the game, the Herb Witches. There's 3 different types of color Herb Witches. So you have the red, you've got the yellow, and you've got purple. Purple, okay. There's 4 of each, and so each game you're going to have 1 of each. Okay, so you can randomize the witches that you have in each game. So that keeps the game fresh. On a high level, the witches sort of mitigate some of the risk in the game, and that's one of the things that has been some people don't like the really big luck element in Quacks of Quedlinburg, and so the witches kind of help mitigate that. So I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy that aspect of it. It also comes with 6 value pumpkins. If you're familiar with Quacks of Quedlinburg, pumpkins are only 3. Now you can get a 6 value pumpkin that really moves you far in your pot. And all the ingredients come with 2 more ways to play. Okay, so there's now a total of 6 ingredient books for each of the ingredients in the game. So that's new. And here's a 6 value pumpkin, by the way.
Keep pulling in more and more.
Yeah, it's more and more stuff. We have a new ingredient, humorously called Loco Weed. And there's 2 ways to play Loco Weed, and these are what your Loco Weed chips look like. Ooh. Yeah, so doesn't really look like a Loco Weed, but so yeah, you have a new ingredient. You've got 12 different types of witches. You've got 2 more ingredient books per ingredient. You have 6 value pumpkins. You got overflow bowls and enough stuff for a 5th player.
Wow.
So there's a ton of content
That's
in
so
there.
much.
Yeah. Only $35. And yeah, it's really going to expand your Quacks game, and particularly the witches. they add a lot more strategy to, like, when you want to amplify something that's good, some of the witches do that. If you want to cast off some bad luck, the witches can do that as well.
And when did you say that was available?
That'll be out in about a week and a half.
Oh, that's quick.
Yes.
That's coming up.
it's on the water. It's on its way here.
So is there any place we could go to get more information on either of these games?
Yeah, our website is the best place. Obviously, the interwebs are full of information and reviews on this game. You can come here to GTM and watch this video.
Yeah.
The Board Game Geek, obviously, there's a bunch of reviews out. Quacks, as we know, has won the Kenner Spiel last year. So yeah, and NorthstarGames.com is the place to go for all the basic information. And obviously, you can email us if you have any questions and so on and so forth. Find us on Twitter at North Star Games and so on and so forth.
Well, thank you so much for coming out, and we'll see you at your friendly local game store.